Hi there, I'm Jane Butel with Chilies and Chilies, showing you how to prepare Pollo Rellenos, a really fun little dish made out of chicken breast halves. You see one there, and it's got buttermilk, cheddar cheese, some chopped green chili, finely chopped for the filling, and then the salsa ingredients of green chili, tomato, and onion. And the cornflakes there is what we're going to dip it in to give it a crispy brownie, sort of a brown crust. To make the pollo rellenos, you do want to flatten the chicken breasts, and here I'm using sort of a tenderizing tool. It's called a jacquard, made in France. You can, if you don't have one of these though, you can use a plate to pound it with between 2 layers of wax paper, or the bottom end of a glass, or even a rolling pin. There are tenderizers that are just the French style, made with a solid, just a real solid kind of a round metal that you have to be a little careful with when you're using them, because you could tear up the chicken breast. Once you get them flattened to your liking, turn the inside up, and then we're going to make the cornflake crumbs by just using a little rolling pin. In New Mexico, this is called a bolillo, to kind of grind the crumbs. They're just cornflakes in a plastic bag. And I just place it on a plate for ease of use. And we're going to take the chicken breasts, and the inside is up. We only need to, they've been marinating briefly in buttermilk, and we only need to put the bottom side into the cornflakes. So I'm just adding a little bit of that chopped green chili, and now we're going to add the shredded Mexican grated cheese, and they'll be rolled, and we hold them together with toothpicks. And see, because you have the cornflake crumbs on your plate, makes it really easy to get the chicken breast coated with the cornflake crumbs. And when you're placing the toothpicks in, it's actually a little bit of a science almost. You want to just barely pierce them in or stab them in. You do not want to weave or knit them in, because they will cook in. As the chicken cooks, it kind of expands, and it cooks the toothpick right into the flesh, and it's very difficult to get out. So now we just are going to place them in a buttered dish, and I'm doing a half recipe, just 2 halves of chicken breast halves. And I think you're going to be delighted to know that this recipe can be done in just very little time. It's 2 chicken breast halves in the microwave take only 5 minutes. If you have 4 chicken breast halves, it'd be 10 minutes, because cooking time in a microwave is indexed to the quantity. Here we're covering it with a cellophane wrap. You can use a plate, or you could use wax paper if you preferred it. And we're going to set the time for 5 minutes, so it will be kind of roasting, baking away. And to garnish it, we're going to use the traditional salsa fresca, which was kind of a liberating salsa in Mexico after one of the revolutions, where they determined that they could tell the loyalty of families in question if the federales, the police force, was sent around at mealtime. And if there was a important dish on the table, or a plate on the table, that comprised equal portions, the same as the colors of the flag, equal bars of red, green, and white, the family was saved. But if the federales came at mealtime and there was no red, green, and white dish, a food dish on the table, then the federales were commissioned to execute on site. So it was really good to know this salsa recipe, and that's how it got so popular. And it's wonderful on hamburgers, omelets, steaks. You can use it to flavor guacamole, chili con queso. And here we are. Voila! It's all done. And we just remove that plastic wrap, which is kind of sealed on. And it's hot, of course. And you want to test for doneness. And by the way, this little dish is only 205 calories a serving. So it's a really good one to remember when you want to sort of nip in your waistline a bit. So if you press it and it's real firm to the touch, it will be done. Because if you press on your hand, like on the bone of your hand, that's how that chicken should feel, really well done. And we're going to put both chicken breasts on a plate. You could serve 2 to a real hungry person, I guess. And now we're just going to just placing it on the plate, and we're going to add the salsa as our garnish. And I like to just sort of nap it over the, nap it over the top. And I think it makes a pretty dish. And you can see the cornflakes kind of replace the browning that would naturally occur. And I just kind of like to pick up some of those cornflake crumbs and just add it to the top. And here we're just this is called a nap, where you just sort of place a ribbon of the salsa over the top. And then we're just going to get some of those little field greens. You could use regular lettuce. I wouldn't use iceberg because it's too pale. And I just put a little tuck of it on both sides. I think it just adds a little delicate frill, perhaps. And there you have it. I think it looks good enough to eat, don't you? This has been Jane Butel with Chilies and Chilies making Pollo Rellenos.